Hello, welcome back. Welcome to my Bolognese pasta bake. Okay, kids are always asking me, they want spaghetti 7 days a week. It drives me absolutely nuts and I'm so over it. So I'm going to do a Bolognese pasta bake because it's pretty much the same thing in a different shape, and we can whack some salad and chips and that with it and make it a little bit more interesting. So what we're going to need for this is we need 1 brown onion, we need a couple of eggs. Now, we normally need a 700 gram jar of passata, it's called, P-A-S-S-A-T-A, which is like, you know, these spaghetti sauce things, right? But with my stomach and that, I reckon they're a little bit too rich, so I would rather use these sort of jars. So these are 500 gram jars of the dolmio. So I've got one with Italian herbs in it and one with garlic in it, just to add a bit of everything in there. And I'm going to use 1.5 jars, alright? So a 700 gram bottle of passata or 1.5 jars of the dolmio. Now we're going to need a couple of tomatoes, and I'm using 500 grams of pork mince today, but you can definitely use beef or lamb mince if you want as well. Now if you've got some fresh basil, just do like a tablespoon of fresh basil. Otherwise I'm doing a teaspoon of dry basil because that's all I've got. If you've got fresh oregano, a tablespoon of that. I've got some here that's drying out that we'll use them from the other night, so I'll just use a teaspoon of that. Now two garlic cloves or your jar garlic. We need some tomato paste. Now you're supposed to have mozzarella cheese, but I've got pizza cheese, so that's what I'm using. And we need, this is a 500 gram pack. I'm using the large shells, but what you really need is the large spirals, the big spiral ones. That's what you should use. But I don't have any, and rather than using the little spiral ones, which I think it'll make it fall apart, I'm just going to use the shells. So that's a 500 gram pack, and we only need 250 grams. Okay, if you see little tiny black bugs everywhere, there is nothing I can do about it. It was 34, 35 degrees yesterday or whatever. We got bombarded by these bloody things. I don't even know what they are. So I've tried to get rid of as many as I can, but if we have a rogue one, as long as it doesn't go in my food, we should be good. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get a cake tin, a springform tin, the one that pops off. Now you're supposed to use around a 22 centimetre one, but I've got a 20 centimetres one, so I'm going to use it. So go 20, 22, 24, like around there somewhere, okay? Put some butter in it. Now, we normally just put baking paper straight in there, but I think it was Donna that said to me on a message not long ago that if you get your baking paper and if you scrunch it up really tight, this is what she told me to do. I hope I'm doing it right, Donna. Alright, and then open it up, apparently, and flatten it out properly. And she said it will go into any shaped tin. So let's give it a crack. Oh, make sure if you can see. That's actually pretty impressive. Because normally, do you know what I mean, it'd be 4 big massive things through it. That's not too bad at all. So you flatten it all down. Thanks, Donna. That's actually not too bad at all. This though is not like a lot of it is a lot thinner people's baking paper. This is really thick stuff, so it's really hard to work with. That's good. I wouldn't have been able to get that without doing. That's awesome. Look at that. That is absolutely perfect. On your mate. That's so cool. Alright, so you want to do that. And then once you've done that, we'll stick that aside for a minute. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to preheat our oven at 220 degrees. We want to get a big pot of water out and stick it on and turn it on to get it ready to boil. And we want to get a frying pan out ready to go and chop that onion up. Okay, heat our pan up on medium heat. A little bit of olive oil or whatever oil you have. In with the onion. In with your mince. I'll just break it up as I put it in there. Add your 2 cloves of crushed garlic or your 2 heaped ones of the jar garlic. And now we want to mix it all in really well, and we only want to cook it out for a couple of minutes just so it changes colour. Your teaspoon of basil and your teaspoon of oregano if dry, otherwise a tablespoon of each. We want a heaped 1/4 of a cup of tomato paste. Mix it in really well, just cook it out for a minute. Now we want to add our passata or our 1.5 jars of our dolmio. Mix it in really well, turn it down to a low simmer, and we're going to simmer it for about 10 minutes. I forgot to say, put a little bit of water in the bottom of your jar, mix it up really well, and tip that in there with it. Now as it's simmering away for 10 to 12 minutes, we want to put our pasta in and we want to cook it. When the pasta's cooked, and this will be ready, and we can put it all together. So yeah, pasta in now while this is cooking. That should be ready about the same time. But really low simmer this one, okay? Okay, our pasta's finally cooked and drained. Now this only took about 8 minutes. Okay, and then I've just left it sitting there until the pasta's ready. So now the next thing we do is we just crack some salt and pepper into it. Okay, we add the 2 eggs we've whisked up. We add 1 cup of our grated cheese. We chuck our hot pasta on top and we mix it in really well. Once it's mixed in well, we start filling up our dish. Once we put it all in there, we're going to get the back of a big spoon and we want to squash it down. And then we want to make it nice and flat. Once it's nice and flat, we're going to lay on our tomato. As much as you want. Now this is optional. You can put breadcrumbs on. Absolutely optional. You don't have to do this bit if you don't want. Then we want to sprinkle some extra cheese on top. Now before you put it in the oven, I would put it on a cookie tray, so if anything leaks out of anywhere, it's not going to make a massive mess on the bottom of your oven and smoke your whole house out. Now, we put this in the oven for 25 minutes, okay? But because I'm doing chips and salad with it, what I'm going to do is I've got some frozen steakhouse chips. I'm going to put them around the sides of it because the frozen chips and this thing is 220 degrees. So you cook this both the same. So what happens is when 25 minutes when we take this out, it has to sit for 20 minutes before we cut it up. So while that's sitting for 20 minutes, the chips will cook the other 20 the minutes that they need. And while they're cooking and that's sitting, we're making our salads up and getting our plates ready. Okay, so even if you're not doing chips, put it on a thing. 25 minutes we stick it in for now. Check that little perler out. Oh, mate. Alright, we're going to leave it sit there for 20 minutes while we get everything else ready. Oh God, 20 minutes later, here we go. Oh, it's hot. Moment of truth. Oh, I hope it sticks together. So if you do the big spiral pasta, you won't even have to freak out. It'll work every time with the spiral or the big spiral. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. So now we just cut slices and serve it up. Oh, smells amazing. Absolutely amazing. Alright, it should hold together. It's a little bit soggier than what I would like. But like I said, if you get the proper one, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Look at this. Looky. Boom. There we have it, my friends. Bolognese pasta bake. Why wouldn't you? Oi, have yourselves an awesome night. You know me. I'll be back. Bye.